Hi all, welcome to the channel Cloud Knowledge. Today in this video, we'll study a data factory pipeline scenario in Microsoft Fabric where we are going to get the data from the REST endpoint, REST API URL, get it into the Fabric, and then from Fabric, we are going to transfer the data to the Teams group chat, Microsoft Teams group chat. We are going to send it. Okay, so let's first go to see what is the REST endpoint. If we go here to the dummy REST API example.com, the sample URL we can get for the employees data here. The very first one where we'll get all employees data. And if we click on the details here, we could see the data which is present or which is going to come through this URL. Okay, we are going to use this URL. And now let's go to the data factory documentation here by Microsoft. Under the Microsoft Fabric data factory documentation, under the data pipelines, we could see the different activities present here. So now we are under the data pipelines activities list, and in the activities list we could see copy, for each, pipeline, lookup, notebook and script. Okay, the web activity is not present, but if we consider today's date when this video is created in the month of July 23, though it is not mentioned here about the web activity which we are going to use for this scenario, it still exists in the Fabric. Okay, so we are going to use the web activity which is not here in the documentation currently as of the date. And if we go to the Azure data factory documentation, under the Azure, we could see that the web activity here is used to call REST endpoint, custom REST endpoint from ADF or Synapse. Similar web activity configuration we are going to do in Fabric. Okay, so we are going to take this URL, we'll go to the Fabric here. Here we are in our workspace, Cloud Knowledge Data Factory, which we have created in the last video. So we are inside our workspace, and from plus new option, we are going to create a new data pipeline. Click on plus new data pipeline. It will prompt us to give the pipeline name. So here we'll give the pipeline name, copy REST to Teams chat. Copy REST data to Teams chat. We'll click on create. It is getting loaded in the background. Pipeline copy REST to Teams chat is created. And this is the first page. Start building your pipeline using the different activities. So we'll click on add pipeline activity. It will display us the different activities present under the different categories. So as we know, in the official documentation, if we go here under the Microsoft Fabric data factory, we do not have under the data pipelines many of the activities which are already present here in the Fabric portal, right? So along with these activities, if we go down to connect to the REST endpoint under the HTTP, we have web activity. This is what we are going to use in this video. If you want to read in detail about web activity in ADF and Synapse, which is already covered in the ADF activities playlist, you can go through it before watching this video if you are already not aware of it. Let's click on web. So this activity will come into the canvas of the data factory here. It will have the first tab as general, same as we have seen in the data factory activities. We'll leave the settings here as is. We'll go to the settings tab, the second tab of the web activity. Here, the first option is reference to the REST connection for authentication purpose. So here we have to give the reference. We'll click on plus new. Since we do not have the connection, we'll click on plus new for the new connection. Let's wait for the page to load. Right. So here in the connection settings, we have to give the base URL, which will be the URL of the HTTP endpoint. Since we have copied the URL from the sample REST endpoint, we'll paste that. So this endpoint will give us the employees related data from the REST endpoint. This is done. We'll click on OK. we will click on test connection, whether the connection is successful to the endpoint. So it shows connection successful. We'll leave the other setting as is, except the method, which will be get, because here we have seen that it will get us the details of the employee data, and the method used is get. The type of data which will be fetched is JSON. Okay, so the method we selected here is get. Now we can validate the pipeline up to this level and perform a save and run. We need not publish the pipeline here as we do in Data Factory and Synapse. We have to just save and run. The output tab, we could see the web activity is queued, and click on refresh to see it succeeded. Now here, same as we have in Data Factory and Synapse, we could see the input that we have given the input, and in the output we could see after expanding that it has fetched us the employee related data from the REST endpoint. It has different IDs and employee related details. Now our requirement part 2 is to get this data transferred to a Teams chat. Okay, so here if we click on the activity, on the right bottom side we have this arrow, green arrow. We'll click on this green arrow, and again we could add different activities which are present here. Here we can see that under the move and transform we have few activities: general, metadata, scripts, variables, conditionals, loops, HTTP, invoke, notifications. So here at the bottom we can see a notifications section where we have Office 365 Outlook and Teams. So these two options are shown as preview. Since Microsoft Fabric is very newly launched, we can expect many more additions and changes in the current Fabric portal. So here we could notice that under the notifications we have Office 365 and Teams. We are going to use this Teams option, okay, or the Teams activity, which is again not present in the documentation currently. We may expect the documentation to get updated soon. These two activities are not yet present in the Data Factory and the Synapse Analytics pipeline of Azure, but we can find these two add-ons here in Fabric right from the start. So we'll make use of it. We'll select Teams here. So it will add us this Teams activity here. Okay. As soon as we add the Teams activity, it will ask us for consent. To use this, you must grant consent to use your email address. And this email address should be the same through which you have logged into the Teams account as well as here on the Fabric. And as of now, for the Outlook 365 activity, which is another notification activity here in Microsoft Fabric Data Factory, they want it to be organizational account. So in this video, I'll be using organizational account. So let's click on OK. It will open up another page, and here we will select our account. After selecting, it will ask for confirmation. In the confirmation, it will say you are about to provide access to Microsoft Teams to a connection created by this user. So we'll click on allow access. On the right side, we could see under the notifications that the connection created successfully. Now in the Teams activity, the first tab is the name and description. We'll leave it as is. We'll go to the second tab, that is the settings tab. In the settings tab, the first option is post in. If we click on the drop down, we could see it says channel or group chat. Currently in the Teams activity, post in option, where do we want to post the output coming from the previous activity, that is the web activity we have got from the REST endpoint, the JSON output. Where do we want to post that output? We want it to be posted into a channel, the Teams channel, to one of the Teams channel, or to a group chat. So in our case, we'll be taking to a group chat. Only group chat and channel feature exists. Now, after selecting group chat, it is fetching us the different chats or the group chats which are present into that account, which we have authenticated just now. Now, group chat is selected. It will open up another two options, group chat and message. If you click on the drop down for the group chat, it will show us the different group chats which are present into that configured account. Let's select one of the group chat here named as focus from my account, and in the message we can give a dynamic content. And in the message we could add dynamic content. Let's add dynamic content, and in the dynamic content, in this example, we'll simply select the web activity output, and the output was the JSON coming from the REST endpoint. We'll click OK. This is done. We are going to post it into a group chat named as focus. What will be the content? It will be the content of the web activity output. This looks fine. Now we'll validate the entire data factory pipeline, and we'll click on run, which will ask us to save and run. Saving the changes here is displayed in the notification bar. Starting running now. Let's click on refresh. Web activity completed. Teams activities in progress. Let's click on refresh again. And Teams also succeeded. If we see here in the Teams input, we could see the input is coming the employee related data of the web activity output, and in the output, if we open, this is how the output will look like. Let's now validate whether in the Teams group chat we have received the output or not. So let's open the Teams focus chat. So this is my Microsoft Teams, and here on the right side we could see the focus Teams chat is open, and here we could see that the chat has been updated in the group with the content fetched from the REST endpoint of the employee related data. So since we have just given the web activity output, it will show us here in the Teams chat the JSON output added in the group chat. So this is very useful when we have to send some important data over the Teams channel, group chat, or maybe in future they'll implement the option to select individuals also. Let's go back to the pipeline. So what we did is we connected to the REST endpoint, use the method get to get the employee related data, and then we have added the Teams activity which is exclusively present in the newly launched Microsoft Fabric Data Factory pipelines. And in the settings of this, we are sending the output received from the previous activity to a group chat. In future, we'll keep on exploring more activities in the Fabric Data Factory. Thank you for watching this video. Do let me know in comments if you have any questions. Happy learning. Bye.